What's up, guys? Happy hump day to you. Oh, man. Boy, do we got a lot to do today. Busy day today. Give you guys a teaser. All right. So today. Last week we put the rack together and we test fit a lot of stuff up on Friday. That went swimmingly well, other than me almost smashing my iPad. Fun times if you were there. And I've had a change of heart over since Friday. And the more I've thought about it, and the more I've talked about it, and the more I've thought about it through my head, I really came to the conclusion that it would be silly of me not to mount the rack in the other closet where there's the shared wall where all the cable drops come in, so that I could eventually put in a patch panel, punch everything down, and cable everything up that way with some proper Panduit channels and all of that. So new closet on the other side of the room. It's going to mount right inside of that closet, and on the other side of that wall, literally in that wall, is where all of my drops throughout the entire house terminate. That's a proper demarc. Right now it's just going to an electrical utility box that's on the other side of that wall. So we're going to basically cut a hole through. I would love the idea of basically eliminating that entire utility box from the laundry room. And we can patch it with some drywall. Put a drywall patch in there, take the whole utility box out, move the Legrand stuff through the wall, because it's all Ethernet. Everything is Ethernet. And it's near impossible to get everything neatly in there. The only reason I might want to leave it is because that's also where all the coax drops come in, even though I'm using none of them. The whole house is wired for coax as well for DirecTV or cable TV. So that's a consideration. Now, a lot of that stuff I'm not going to be able to do on stream because I have to do things like unplug my modem from AT&T, which, for obvious reasons, would drop the stream. But I'm thinking of ways around that. The problem is I can't move it very far because I can bring it through the wall. So what I'll have to do, what we're going to do today is we're going to clear out that closet, take some shelving out that's in there. We're going to cut through the drywall. We got to find the studs, make sure we don't cut any other electrical stuff that's behind it. So got to be real careful. And we're basically going to pilot hole drill. At the end of the stream today, I hope to have the rack hanging in the closet. That's what we're going to do today. The empty rack. If we get more than that done, it'll be icing on the cake. But at the end of the day here, the idea is to get the rack hung, make sure that I've got a tunnel where I can pull the cable bundle through. Easy peasy. Going to be so much easier than trying to do it in this big closet and leaving all that stuff in the electrical utility box. It's a little bit of extra work for maximum reward. It's going to be so nice. And then that closet's smaller, so I get to keep this larger closet, that table and all of that IT stuff comes out of the closet and it goes in the rack. It's going to be so much cleaner. It's going to be so much nicer. And I get that whole closet, double door closet back for storing more stuff. But I can actually put some organization in there. I've thought about making a sort of makeshift VO booth for other things, voiceover things, all kinds of good stuff once I get all that stuff out of there. There's a printer, there's a shredder, there's all kinds of stuff. But having everything in that smaller single-door closet and maybe putting an exhaust fan, extractor fan pulling into the attic long-term, that'll be solid. So, I think I've got everything set up. I'm not going to waste too much more time. I'll have the iPad over there and be checking on chat from time to time, but I'm going to switch the music so that, because this one plays on, what you're hearing now is playing on YouTube, and it does the Netflix thing where it stops and it says, "Are you still listening?" You got to have YouTube Premium to subvert that, apparently. I was looking into it. So let me get the old stream beats going. Yeah. I love this song, though. Aww. Aww. We'll kick that up a little bit. All right, so I'm going to switch the microphones. I'm going to switch the camera, and we're going to get started. Thank you guys for coming today, by the way. We had a really good time on Friday. I know there were a lot of people that were looking forward to the next steps of what we were going to do here, so this is going to be fun. Good times. And hey, you guys might get to see me break stuff again. All right, let me make sure I've got the other mic turned up, and I'm going to switch the camera. So hang tight. All right, if you guys can, let me know how you're hearing me on this microphone here. I'm gonna get the stream pulled up so I can see you guys chat. Dusty. All right, YouTube. Come on. Yeah, let me know if you guys can hear me. Loud and clear. Cool. Thanks very much. All right. Keep that guy up. All right, so we got a bunch of tools. Stud finder, tape measure, obviously. Got the drywall saw. What else? Got a screwdriver. Made a trip to Lowe's. This was something I didn't have when we were doing this on Friday, but some 2-inch 5/16 lag bolts to be able to go into the studs to hold the rack, along with some flat washers and lock washers. That's what's going to be holding it to the wall. 4 of those should be fine. I estimated the weight that we're going to be working with. The rack itself is about 12 pounds, and then we've got about 40 pounds of kit between the 2 Synologies, 2 switches, and various other little pieces. We're gonna be mounting about 40 pounds to the wall, so that should be enough. I'm thinking about putting some struts underneath the front edges of it to the floor. It's gonna be pretty close to the floor once it's all said and done. The whole rack is about 42 inches, and the cable bundle is gonna be coming out about 64 inches is the top of the utility box where most of the cable drops are. So we've got a good 20 inches in there, about 2 feet between where the top of the rack might go, and I'm trying to line it up exactly where it's gonna be, but I'm not gonna be able to do all of this on stream, unfortunately. I can't get the cameras in here tight enough, and it's just gonna be too tight, but we're gonna get as far as we can today. I may have to jump in and out from the other room just to let you guys know in case I disappear. I got some stuff in here, last minute stuff I got to take out of the closet. Then we're going to take this shelf down, and then we're going to start doing some measuring and cutting into the drywall a little bit and seeing if we can expose the studs and then find our spot where we want to pull our bundle through. I'm not going to patch panel them down just yet, because what I want to be able to do is it's just all going to be patched through with a Netgear switch for right now as an uplink switch. But what I eventually want to do is be able to put a grommet in there to keep bugs and lint and dirt and anything else out. So I'll need to be able to run that over the bundle and flush it into the wall. So some of that stuff I'm not going to be able to do on stream because everything's got to be unplugged. So we'll get to that. Hopefully we get all this stuff mounted up and running by the end of stream on Friday. So again, this is sort of a 2 to 3 week effort here, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't do too much off of stream without you guys, because I also want to be able to make a supercut video of this whole thing as well, sped up process of putting all of this together, building DatacenterDude's data center at the end of the day. So yeah, I'll check the chat every now and then here on the iPad, but I'm just gonna start working. Let me know if something goes wonky with the sound, if the music is too loud or too soft, you want some more volume, because I'm gonna talk every now and then, but most of the time you're gonna be hearing me working. So have fun today, guys. Enjoy, chat with each other. If you have any questions about anything, you can use !Discord to get into the Data Center Dude tech community. And then if you have any questions about some of the gear I use to stream, do !Kit. But the bot should post those every now and then for you guys as well. So let me get this other stuff out of the closet and we'll get started. This might be a fun bag to go through one day. This is all the accessories for that giant video camera that I showed you guys, the XHA1, the big Canon one that I have. At the time, the highest quality was component cables. That's what came with it. So we might go through that one day. This one's gonna suck. This is a giant styrofoam box of all of my hard drives from my past. It's full of hard drives. Show you guys this stuff one day once we get done. All right, a couple more little things. Because we got to take this shelf out of here. It goes all the way across, but I do want to put it back in, but I want to cut it in half. I got to get the saw out, hacksaw, and cut it in half and reposition the brace right there to the next stud over to the left. But the rack is mostly the first stud is right here in the middle of it, and the brace is on the second stud, so I'm gonna have to I gotta get the shelf out of the way, basically. toaster. Oh. Yeah, that thing can go away. Probably just end up tossing that. All right. We're clear. Pop that guy out. Where is my drill? One sec, guys. All right. The shelves have flathead screws. I was not prepared for that, so I had to go get my bits. All right, you guys ready to rock and roll? Come on. Very shallow screws. Whoever uses flatheads anymore is fired. Is that just my bit? Yeah, I think it's just too wide of a bit. Let's try something with a little smaller bite on it. God forbid I have to get an actual screwdriver out. Damn. These are the worst screws ever. It's twisting out of the... Interesting. So I'm wondering if it's stripped because it's not coming out. Oh, this is going to make for an interesting stream moment if I have to... Oh, I hate these things so much. You know, 4 more of these, 2 more at least I gotta get rid of. These things suck so bad. Don't ever install these shelves in your house. I think it's stripped. That'll work. Brute force. I'm gonna be repatching it anyway. Oh, it was a nail? Why does it have a flathead on it if it's a nail? Yeah, whoever installed this shit's fired. Alright. We got more of them. I think we can leave these in, however. Oh, come on, son of a bitch. Because all we want is for this guy to come out. At the end of the day. And like I said, we'll trim that. We'll probably cut it in half. It'll be great storage. It'll be great to secure cables to and things like that. Once we get everything mounted in here. I got a couple of little... You know what I need is a pair of pliers. There they are. Just pull these guys out of here. That works much better. So much easier. Alright, so we'll save those. So I was trying to, here's what these are. So basically they got a flat head, but they're actually just nails. And they go into, very weird system, but I guess it works. It's amazing that that little thing, 4 or 5 of those, holds up so much weight. How we doing, guys? Can you guys hear me when I'm in the closet? When I'm in here talking, is it echoing out loud enough for you guys to hear it? Time crew stuck in the closet. Alright, I think we can leave the rest of that stuff over there. So now I need to do some measuring and some marking. So give me 1 second, I gotta find a pen. Alright. So the top of the utility box was 64 inches. Let's find a mark. Okay. And AC duct in that room? No. And it's frankly, it's not gonna be generating that much heat anyway. I'm not putting servers and big switches in there. But there is, I am gonna eventually put an extractor fan into the attic, just above. Think. The best way to attack this. Give me 1 second, guys. Studs. Oh, come on. Okay. So now basically what I'm gonna do, so I've got marks on the wall. I wish you guys could see it better, but I've got the top of the utility box marked from the floor to the wall. I've got that measurement made, and then the utility box in the other room is a 16-inch box, standard electrical box, but it's between 2 studs. So basically what I've done is find the studs and mark the studs, and now I'm gonna punch through and try and find a little bit of an opening, being very careful not to cut anything. I've just got to get enough of an opening to be able to shine a light in there and see where the bundle is, so that I can cut around where the bundle and the drops are, and and then I can make a big enough hole to just pull the bundle through. I want to do that first before we try and mount the rack to the studs, because that'll give me a good idea of where I need to position the rack. Because I'd love to put the top bar of the rack right above where the bundle comes through, because eventually I'm going to pull it in and patch panel it right into it. So that gives me the shortest distance. I don't have to bundle a lot of cables, and some of those are very short runs, like they've only got about a foot, maybe 2 feet of slack. So I want to make sure that I'm cutting through in the right place, or pulling the bundle through in the right place before we put the rack up there, because the bundle is basically going to dictate where the rack goes ultimately. Also, I got to keep in mind, I'm going to double check the measurement on the rack itself. I believe it's 40, yeah. So it's 42 inches, so I basically have to position, I got to find how high I want it to be. So that would actually be kind of perfect right there. So 42, and if I put it right above where the bundle's gonna come out, can you guys see that? Kind of. Yeah, so if the bundle comes out right there in about a 2-inch diameter circle, and then it's 19-inch rack, but let's get the actual width of it side to side. Is 20 inch, so 20 inches, give it enough breathing room against the wall. That's just, it's gonna be perfect. Absolutely perfect for this space. So, for those that weren't here Friday, here's the things that have changed. Originally, I've got a closet on the other side of the room that's a double door. And the thought originally was that I would eventually have 2 smaller racks side by side. Once I consolidated everything onto the rack last Friday after we built it, I started to see, I don't really need 2. I can get away with 1 and still have at least 8 to 10 U of usable space left over for things like panduits, patch panels, things like that, etc. And when I started looking at this and thinking about it more, it makes so much more sense to all but eliminate that utility box that's in the laundry room across on this shared wall and just pull everything through to this closet and have everything in the rack. My in-house audio from Legrand, my the AT&T DMark, and backup battery for the modem for the AT&T Gigapower fiber. All of that can be in the rack now. And effectively, I can eliminate that utility box altogether, and we can just put some drywall in there, putty over it, paint it, and it's gone. So that's really the goal here. That's the idea. All the power that's going through over there as well, there's a power outlet inside the utility box. I want to pull that and mount that into this closet. Really excited about that. And if I can isolate it in the breaker box, I'd like to put it on its own dedicated circuit. So we have to, some things that we have to work through here, but the fact that I've got access to not only a power run, but also the entire bundle throughout the house for all home audio, all Ethernet around the house for internet, all that stuff. It was a no-brainer. Why not, right? For minimal effort and maximum reward. All right. Pray I don't electrocute myself here, but let's see what we got. So I basically made, from my mark right above where I think the utility box stops, the top of the utility box, I went about 3 inches above that and made a vertical line down. And now I'm gonna do about an inch opening to the right and see what I can see in there. And I think I'm dead center on it from where I measured. First little chunk. By the way, I'm going to show you, there's a reason why you use this saw. It's got a wooden handle for a reason. Listen to former mechanical engineer and power installer who has electrocuted himself more times with more power than I know I can count. Wood handles, leather gloves. Realistically, I should be wearing leather gloves right now. The reason when you're cutting through drywall like that, remember that housing code makes you, or the electricians, do all their runs along studs. So if you happen to cut through a piece of drywall and run along a stud and expose an electrical wire's shielding, you could, and if somehow you ground yourself, you could, I mean, it's AC current. It's not gonna hurt that much. It's a fun little buzz, a little tingle, right? Almost like you get hit with like a funny bone kind of tingle, but it's not gonna kill anybody in a house. It's just gonna trip a breaker. But at the end of the day, there's a reason these are wood handled. It's because they're not good conductors. Don't hurt yourselves. Don't try this at home, kids. All right, so we got an opening. I feel cables. That's good. All right, I'm gonna open up. I'm gonna feel around. All right, there's nothing there, so I'm gonna open up another inch to the left. What am I hitting there? Nothing? All right. All right, so now I've got about an outlet-sized rectangle, and I can basically get my hand in there and feel where all of the bundles coming through. So give me just a minute. Where is my phone? I need one of those headlamps. Let's see. What we can see in here. Aha! They were right above it. There's the whole bundle. Okay, that's what I was worried about. It is stapled, I believe. Or is that the main bundle? It's somehow secured to the stud. It feels like a big staple, which is normal. That's code. I'm trying to see which cables. It's all Ethernet, and there's one solid white one, which I believe is either a control cable or a power cable. Let's see if I can. That's not all of them, though. Ah, there's the rest of them, I think. Don't drop your phone in the wall, Nick. Yep, I think we just need to make a bigger hole. How bad would that suck if you dropped your phone down? I had it sticking halfway into the wall. If I let go of it or it slipped for whatever reason, it's down in the bottom of the drywall. Hey, Will, what's up, man? It's good to see you, brother. Thanks for the message. All right, so what I need to do, I need to check the utility box for something real quick where that whole bundle comes in. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Be the best way. So what I'm looking at, what I'm feeling around for is there's a place in the utility box. I think I just need to pull that utility box loose. I can't take a camera in there with me. I'm trying to think of the best way. Also, the utility box is where the AT&T modem is. I haven't moved that guy yet. And I'm trying to think of how. I don't think I can do that without dropping the stream. But I might be able to work something out. And let me think about that for a second. Be right back, guys. All right, I have an idea, but I need to run a cable real quick. I think I need to figure out a way to. I got to drop a cable from one of the LAN ports on the modem to my core switch, not the Netgear uplink that's in there with it, and then I can unplug the rest of the bundle from that Netgear switch, and we can pull the utility box out. I really need to find through this wall. Right now, what it feels like with my elbow deep in the wall. It feels like there's 2 to 3 different runs coming in, and I'm not finding the top of the utility box. And it makes me wonder if there's a second partition between the walls. That's what I've got to find, which doesn't make a lot of sense. You'd think it would be right there. It should be right. I should be able to tap the top of it. But I can't. So, bear with me, guys. We might have to punch through a secondary partition just to see what we're working with here. Actually, let me do something real quick. Just poke the knife through, see what happens. Interesting. Okay, so I'm about a foot off, apparently. So the bundle is closer this way, which makes more sense. The problem is, I gotta get to the other side of that stud, which is right there. 64. That's better. It's just drywall, right? All right. So I can see all my cables now. I might have to make that one a little bit longer. Okay, one sec. actually. Let me do that drop real quick to the switch so that I can pull the whole bundle through. A nice long 100-footer here. Just gotta make sure I got it plugged in, the right port. Come on. Gotta find the other end. Where you at? Oh, nope, that's it right there. Good. Here we go. Okay, hopefully I didn't just lose you guys. Alright, looks like you're still there. So here comes the moment of truth. I'm going to unplug the Netgear uplink switch because we're re-uplinked. Everything should be fine. We basically got redundant runs right now going from the uplink or coming off the modem. So I'm going to unplug the Netgear. If it drops offline, sorry, I'll be right back. All right. Are we still here? It looks like we're still here. Sweet. All right. Get some of this mess out of the way. All right. So now I got to find the bundle, and I want to get the bundle pulled through the wall. Looks like you guys are still here. Out of the way a little bit. Making sure one last time we're still online here. All the cables are unplugged from the Netgear now. So now I'm going to pull the utility box out. And we can push the bundle through. And then we're done with the utility box. Okay. Wish me luck. Get a couple of zip ties. Make sure I keep that bundle together as I pull it through and don't lose any strays. Cutting drywall. Cutting drywall. All right. Now I've got the bundle. Now we're cooking. So now it's a matter of like fishing it back up through the grommet in the utility box, which is a pain in the ass. All right, hang tight. All right, first bundle through. This one's gonna be trickier. This close. All right, we're coming through. Little by little. Yes. Great success. All right. So now where are my... I have a pair of dikes up here. Okay. Are we still online? I think so. Never cut zip ties off Ethernet cables with a box cutter. I am a professional. All right. So, a little bit of, yeah, what's up, Darth? Network cables. Yeah, one time we're pulling through the wall where a utility box was coming through. So, you can see how many cables I'm dealing with here in the house. I think you guys can see that. And to put it in, where is that one going? Ah, there we go. Yeah, I gotta get all these straightened out. So we got a lot of good slack here, right? I hope you guys can see all this. We got a lot of good slack to bring into the rack for the patch panels and things like that. But for right now, once I get it all pulled through, that's the one for the BGW10. Let me make sure I didn't leave any one or two behind. One sec. Man, I'm glad that worked without having to drop the stream. All right. So good bit of slack. Perfect for the rack. And we got our studs. Man, we're in good shape, guys. It took me a couple of holes to find them, but shit, it's just drywall. Whatever. Who gives a shit? You can putty over it and paint it, and it's done. And I'm saving the pieces here just for when I have the guy come back through. I think it'll also be nice that there's a stud there that I can't get through, so I can have the cables come out right there. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to get through that stud, unfortunately. So, what do we want to do now? I kind of want to make sure I'm dead centered on the stud for when I put those big old 5/16 bad boys in. So right here, I think is where yeah, it's hard to tell without making some little punch marks. What you always worry about though with doing it this way is you've got your, yeah, that's definitely a stud right there. Let's see if I can get my arm in there. That's that one. Where's that one? Right there. All right, and then this one. Okay, so we've got some decent marks. For pilot holes for a 5/16, let me, one second. Let me grab my drill bits. For 5/16, we probably want to do, I got drywall in the beard. Awesome. Maybe a 1/4 inch. No, probably 3/16. 3/16 pilot for a 5/16 lag bolt. Probably be good. So I want to do some last minute measuring. So I got 42 inches high, 20 inches wide. So if I'm marking 42 right there, if I'm gonna go here, that's gonna be the bottom of the rack. I think you guys can see that. All right, and then 20 inches is the width of the rack, but is it a 16 inch from the holes? Yes, okay. So 16 inches between which is the stud width, standard stud width, right? So 16 is perfect. All right, so where was that 42? Here's what I want to do, guys. I want to unload. I'm going to turn the camera a little bit. We're going to unload the rack so that I've got the bare rack, and we can do some modeling. We can do some mock-up of where it's going to go. So one sec. Let me turn the camera here a little bit. Work with me. I'll turn the mic around here too so you guys can hear me. And the drill, where did it go? Where did I set that thing down? Left it in the other room. Okay. Alright, so let's start with these shelves. Screws. Oh, I got these. I don't believe I've shown these to you guys. They're little cheap $12 plastic Panduit. So rather than paying $40, the cover comes all the way off, snaps on and off just like any other Panduit you've ever used, but has channels in the back. $12 on Amazon. Got 2 of them. So we'll put one in between the switches and probably, or one patch panel at the top and then a Panduit switch, Panduit switch, right? That's the way I'm thinking about doing it. All right, let's take these shelves out. Get old girl out of here. That's a lot of weight. Sit you down here. Not near as heavy as the Cyber Power is, though. Really? Come on, DeWalt. You need a new battery, baby girl. That might be what she wants. Or I just got it 2-bitch mode. That's what it was. Power strip. Oh, and then big boy. She thick. Damn, boy. Damn, boy, she thick. For a 1U UPS, this thing's heavy as shit. Oh, man. Damn, boy. That's a thick ass mug. Damn. All right. There's the bear rack. I'm going to try not to hit the microphone this time. I'm going to put this over here and then I'll move the camera back. Right. Okay. Slow moves. Slow moves. We zoomed all the way out. Okay. Make sure I can see you guys. Alright. Wow, you really can see our drops, can't you? I need to. No, I don't think it's worth it if I zoom in. That should be high res enough. Alright. You guys still with me? Depend on you guys to let me know if anything's oh, I gotta move the mic. Microphone back over here. Make sure I don't get anything in the way. What I really need is a drink. Oh man, and some AC in here would be nice. Okay. So realistically, let me get in here with it. What we're looking at is, if I can land it, let me get that sticker off. Wall mount warnings. The wall surface, studs, and all user-supplied mounting hardware must be able to support the combined weight of the rack and all equipment that will be installed. The rack can support equipment up to its maximum load capacity of 150 pounds. Wall mounting holes are spaced 16 inches apart horizontally to accommodate standard placement of wall studs. It is advised to safely distribute the weight of the rack and all installed equipment. Thanks, Captain Obvious. Okay, so let me see if I can hold it like that with a knee. So if I go on my markings, we're gonna end up being right there. That's pretty dope. And that's gonna give me enough slack, I believe. And it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be real tight. Okay. What do you guys think? Good stuff? That's going to be close on a patch panel. I might have to patch panel to the back by the end of it. Hang tight for a second, guys. I got to run downstairs and grab a drink. I am dying of thirst. I'm out of Powerade, so hang tight, enjoy the music. I'll be right back. Is the time? 2 p.m. All right, so an hour in and we got the cables pulled already. Awesome. Oh, that's good. Okay. The only other thing I've got to do still is figure out how to take that power outlet that's in, it's like it's inset in the utility box. You ever seen a utility box where it's flush mounted into the wall, so recessed into the wall, but inside of it on the bottom, you've got power outlets so you can plug in things like transformers and whatnot. That's what I've got in there. So I've got a dedicated circuit. I believe it's dedicated to that box, but I need to take the box. I can't take the box out, I've realized, because that's where all the coax drops are as well. So I need to leave the box there, but I kind of want to steal the power. And that's one thing I got to figure. I want to be able to put that on the other side of the wall here and then have an electrician come out, because I don't know the wiring of the house. I've got to have the electrician that wired the house come out and give me maybe a 15 amp breaker so that I can power the PDU. And if there are two outlets, but I just don't know if they're split off the same circuit. So that's what I got to figure out. Maybe fish another dedicated one up, but I'd love to have two so that I've got 2 trip lights. I don't have anything that has redundant power though, so it's kind of overkill and useless. But I don't know, does the Cyber Power have redundant power? No, it does not. So that's the point of the Cyber Power, is it's got 4 surge and 2 battery power. So you plug your trip light 15 amp power strip into those. I've got 2 of those. And everything else gets powered off the trip lights, the power strips, PDUs, excuse me. What am I waiting for? All right. Let's make some holes. This might take a couple of times because I want to make sure I get this absolutely right. So I'm going to do pilots. So for those that don't know, when you want to do a pilot hole, you want to do a pilot hole that is the size of where the bolt is threaded, but without the threads. So if you look at it sideways and you see the width of the hold your drill bit next to it like that, and then go to see how you can see the threads over the drill bit laying next to it. So that's a 3/16. I could probably go a little bit smaller, but I want to make sure that I get a good solid pilot hole for this thing to grab onto, and where it's not shredding the wood of the stud. So just good rule of thumb for those of you that aren't handy. Realistically, you could go with something like a 9/64 bit just to give you a little hole, but all that's going to do is shred the wood and splinter it. So I want to make sure I don't do that. So I'm going to make the pilot hole a little bit bigger, but leave myself 2/16 worth of threads just to grab on and hold that thing in the wall. All right. Over to drilling, no ratchet. So my bundle's there, so I want to come up right underneath that. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. So let's go right there. Brace myself a little bit. And then I'm gonna make sure I didn't. Nope. So always check to make sure you didn't come out the sides. Check on this side. Ugh, big old meat hooks. Nope. All right. So good hole. And make sure I got my measurements right one last time. This is the part where you start second guessing yourself. Which is good. You should always second guess yourself. Dead on 16. All right. And if we're going level, I want to be right there. Brace. That wood. Okay. We'll check. Nope. Okay, good. All right. Now let's see if we can. I have to go find some sockets. I don't know if I have I don't know if I have an impact. Might have to break the sockets out and get this guy. So I was not prepared for that. One sec, guys. Okay. right, so let me think about how I gotta put this on. I gotta get the washers on here. All right, so we've got, I'll show you guys this up to the camera in just a second. I'm sweating. I haven't broke a sweat like this. Well, I guess I was working in the garage when we were moving in over Christmas. We got 4 big disc washers about the size of a quarter. Those, and then we got some lock washers to go on top of those to prevent it turning out. So I'll show you guys. Any other mechanical engineers in the chat that understand this stuff? So we've got our 5/16. This right here. Got our 5/16 lag bolt. Got a flat washer. We've got a 5/16 lock washer. And you can see the split right there. So what you do is you take your bolt. When you feel the center section, you'll feel one side is smooth. One side has like ridges on it. Always put the smooth side up, right? But you want to make sure that the order you put them in is your lock washer goes on first, and then your flat washer goes on after it, so that you end up with something that looks like that. The reason you do that is because when the lock washer engages, it's going to prevent the bolt from turning because it's going to dig into the top and dig into the bottom. That's the point of a lock washer. So once you tighten it down, it's going to prevent the bolt from backing itself out. It's not going to do that anyway. It's in wood. It might as well be in concrete. But you want to make sure that it doesn't do that. It's not as important on this kind of thing, but I always use a locking mechanism like that. Most of the time when you're doing work like this into drywall and sheetrock, you're going to be using wing bolts. So you can, basically a wing bolt is it wise open the tighter you do it, so that it grabs hold of the back of the wall and pulls the bolt in tighter against the wall. But we're going straight into a 2x4 stud, so no need to worry about that too much. Where did my socket go? There it is. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna screw these all the way in, test fit them, make sure they're good enough, and we'll go from there. Once it bites. Move my mic again. So you guys can hear me. I just want to make sure we get a good bite on the bolt. Not going to go all the way in, but that is solid AF. That ain't going anywhere. Yay. All right, remember, lock washer first, then flat washer. And flat smooth side up. There we go. Air ratchet. Push through the drywall. Make sure we get a good bite. Start the threads a little bit. It's not quite bit just yet. Oh boy, that's solid. Oh yeah, that ain't going nowhere. Okay. So, the good news is, landed the pilot holes. They are solid as hell. They're in the studs. We're good to go there. The interesting part is going to be, how do I get I'm going to have to hold the rack up while I thread the first one through. So let me back those back out. Come guys don't want to see that. Let's fix that problem real quick. All right, now. So, I need to keep that in my pocket, and I need to keep these in my pocket as well. So what I'm going to try to do is start them and hold it up with my knee. We'll see how this goes. Oop! Marks on the wall, marks on the wall. That actually works really nice. Oh, man. No, other way. Come on, bite. There we go. That's hanging there. Yes, I have done this quite a few times in my career. If I'm making this look easy, I'm sorry. It's not trivial. Bite, bite. Okay. All right, so she bit, and I'm gonna stand back and there we go. The only thing that's hard about this is the awkward angles. I'm trying to do it. Oh, I didn't even think about that. I might have to ditch the flat washers. Interesting. Okay. Or the flat washers are too big because there's a lipped edge on the top and bottom of the rack and it's overflowing. Huh, okay. I got too big of washers. Could probably just, well, no, I want the flat washer. Is the head of those bolts big enough? If I do without the washer, you can just double lock washer it. I mean, yeah, kind of. I kind of want the washers though. So let me see if I can lift it up just enough to get the washer in there. Oh my God, oh my God, so much. And then, yeah, that would work. Okay, that'll work. Thinking on our feet, guys, thinking on our feet. Man, that is really in there. Snug this side up a little bit. All right, we're good. First knuckle busted though. It's never a solid project unless you bust a knuckle. Everybody still with me? Having fun? What's really going to be fun is when we start mounting the gear on this thing after I put 2 more bolts in. The one thing I can't do today with you guys on stream is the power. I'm going to have to do that after the stream because I have to unplug the router, or sorry, the modem from AT&T, relocate that, or maybe just take it off, and tonight I'll move the electrical box and mount it into the wall, flush mount it into the wall. I think I got a spare one down in the garage. But yeah, that'll be our power. Looks like we're pretty level. I'm pretty happy with that. It's close enough. So now, where'd my drill go? There it is. Does not look too level, does it? Why is the bottom off a little bit? Let me grab my level, guys. One second. Dead center. That's a little bit off. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I had an ink pen. Where'd my pen go? Pen. There it is. In there, good. So that's level. Make a couple little marks. All right. Beauty. And drill. Okay. You can smell the wood. Right. That one has a ledge on it too, so I don't think we're going to be able to put the I don't think we're going to be able to put the flat washers, the big discs, on the bottom ones, but I also don't think it's necessary that much. What I could do is take a pair of wire cutters and snip off a flat side so that it could get in there, or I could just drill a hole a little bit lower to accommodate. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Let me try that. I got a little ahead of myself. Far enough away where it's not going to make that much of a difference. But before I drill another hole, I want to see what it would look like without this washer. Oh yeah, we don't need to drill another hole. So the lock washer is good enough. It's going to cover the where it mounts. Hi. You been shopping? Do you want to see? Yeah. This is Esther, everybody.
Hi.
Ta-da!
Wow.
Don't pull it yet. Yeah, I haven't secured the
I was
bottom.
feeling to see if
But
it was
there's the bundle coming through. It took a little bit of hunting to find it. But this is all the stuff that was in the utility box.
Good
And
job.
it's going to go right here. Yes, a little bang.
It's called a rainbow unicorn.
Rainbow unicorn. I have diabetes now.
It's really sweet.
Holy crap. I got the beatus. Alright. Yeah, we're going to be fine with just the lock washer. So let me crank these two guys in and then we'll start mounting some stuff. Stay straight. Come on, stay straight. Do I have an attachment for a socket? I do not. Why do I not have that? I'm fired. I'm so fired. I could have swore I had a square 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch drive, 3/8 drive, sorry. Socket attachment for my drill. Huh. Alright, it's kind of like 10mm sockets. You can never keep them. So once you get it started, just try to keep it straight and just let it bite on its own, and then it just guides itself in with the pilot hole. Alright, so that one's started. Let me get the other one started too. How are we doing on time? 2:30? 2-hour rack install all day. If I had pre-fished those cables through, we'd have been done by now. We'd have everything mounted. Come here. All right. Push it through. Come on, baby. Start. Can't do the socks anymore. I'm slipping around all everywhere. Okay. Now we'll just work each of them in a little bit at a time. Okay, calm down, Rack. Oh, this is finicky. This is why you use flat washers. Lock washers are grabbing on and not letting it tighten down, so just gotta work it a little bit.
Do you need a hand?
Nope, I'm good. This is the hard part's done. Now we get to have fun.
Can I show them Rocco?
Yeah.
Is he on the street?
You guys want to see our puppy? Little puppy break while
Who was watching?
I don't know, there's about 5 or 6 people in there, I think.
Rocco, say hi. He has a blue tail.
The microphone's back here by the door. You might have to.
Right up there?
Yep.
We've never been on stream before.
No.
You're sweaty. Do you have a drink?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, it's really secure.
Yep. Go back around and tighten a little more.
So what are you putting in there?
All that stuff you see sitting down on the floor. All that stuff that's in the closet. All that stuff that's in the cabinet, in the utility closet, in the laundry room.
Oh wow, you took everything out.
So I took the wire rack out, but the beauty of this is I can cut the wire rack in half and still have like half the shelf over there. I left the clips in and everything. So basically you just get a big old pair of wire cutters and you cut it's just wire. But yeah, all this is getting...
What was that hole for?
I missed. Yeah.
Do you have
So
the
I
drywall?
saved the pieces so Chris can come back and patch it. Yeah.
Oh look, we can see ourselves on here.
Yeah, that's me watching the chat. There's Steven saying hello. Hello, Steven.
That's cool.
Yep. So there we go, guys.
Okay, come on, let's go. Come on. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for stopping by.
Anytime.
All right. So, hard part over. Trying to put a little hanging weight on it. I'm putting at least 100 pounds of weight of down force on the front edge of it. It ain't moving. It ain't going nowhere. I don't feel any wood splintering, nothing. No shifting out, nothing. Got a little bit of side-to-side play, but that'll strengthen up once we actually mount everything and screw everything in with the rack screws. It'll give it that torsional weight. Data Center Dudes, Data Center. Coming together. Alright, so now to put this into perspective, what we're looking at. First things first, I'm going to mount the CyberPower UPS on the very bottom. Obviously, for reasons I already said, we can't plug that in just yet and start charging it, but tonight. I'll do that tonight, and then by the time we get to Friday, we'll start configuring this thing. I think I've got to order a 24 strip patch panel. I can't find my punch down tool anywhere, so I might have to grab one of those for 20 bucks. And then clip off the ends of this and so patch panel at the top, right? And I got to buy some little 6-inch jumpers for the patch panels down into the core switch. I do have another one of those coming, by the way. Remember that one last week I found? It was half off for 140 bucks. Another one of the SG350s. Done. Can't beat that. So I'll have 20 plus 4 SFP plus ports for uplinks. So going right here. So I'll stack those. So patch panel, 2 SG switches, Panduit, 10 gig switch. I might flip it and do the 10 gig up top, but considering they're going to be running down here to the Synologies, that's where that's going to come into play. The other stuff, like the Legrand on cue stuff, I'm thinking about flush mounting on the wall behind this, or it can just stay in the utility box. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's its own little bundle. And it's like 6 cables. Yeah. So. Your data center needs better AC, Steven. Yeah, I need to get up in the attic. I gotta do a couple of things anyway. I've got to reroute some cooling in here from the other rooms because I walk out of this room with all this gear going in here and it's 10 degrees cooler across the threshold. So I've only got 2 vents in here, one on each side. They're both wide open. Yeah. The problem is that we've got some bigger spaces. You guys can kind of see out there where on the other side of the stairs I've got a big loft. It's like a living room upstairs, theater room sort of place. But that place, it's like penguins are ice skating out there, right outside the door. But here, it's 80 degrees, a balmy 80 degrees in here all the time. So yeah, I want to get an extractor fan, just one of those attic fans for external air movement, and pull the air, hot air out of there. But again, all this stuff lives in a closet anyway. It doesn't generate a lot of heat. Literally, the only thing I have over there that generates a lot of heat is the little gyro. That thing is hot as shit on the bottom of it. The Synology is really generating no heat. So I think as long as it's open air like this, it's gonna be fine. All right, let's mount some stuff. I'm excited. We'll do that for the last half hour here or so. Oh, get that. Get my trip light. I got the ears for the switch, but I can't take that down while I'm on stream. So yeah, some of this stuff I'm gonna have to do off stream, like the power and the core networking. That's all gonna have to get done off stream. We might be able to do the patch panel if it gets here in time on Friday. And my punch down tool that I ordered. We'll see if that gets here. I did get the ears for the Cisco switch. Those came in. So we'll get that sorted out. And where are my rack screws? Bit. About 7. All right. Nick, come on. Okay, that one's done. Put that over the back and put you in right there. We're gonna push this guy up one little baby screw spot to give it some little breathing room. The trip light, the cyber power doesn't exact. This is just an awkward angle. The cyber power doesn't exactly line up. I'm wondering if the ears are just a different standard. All right, don't need to waste any more screws with that. So there's our power. And we're going to do a shelf. You found that you need a dehumidifier in your room. It's 74% in there. It takes forever for the AC to... Yeah, that might be a thing too, man. I think a lot of my heat comes off of the monitors. That's where... So I try and keep my ultra wide is off to the right. if I'm looking at them. So I've got the 227s, one in front of me and one to the left, and then the ultra wide 34-inch. That thing cranks out heat. So I try to keep that turned off when I'm not using it. But even when I come in here in the morning and all the monitors have been off all night, it's still hot. I've got blackout curtains on the windows, so there's no heat coming through there. But yeah, I got to get up there and play with if you guys know your HVAC stuff, there's little flappers that are on your air movers in the attic, or wherever you might have them. So I got to adjust the flappers to restrict some of the airflow to the other places so it pumps some more into here. So we'll see. I just hadn't got around to it. It's on the list. But I may have a guy do that. I may just have a guy come install the fan so that I don't have to worry about it. Am I doing this in the right order? Let me make sure. Yes, okay. Yep. Things start getting a little bit easier now. Maybe. Don't get your beard caught in the screwdriver. That almost just happened. Good. And this is the new 10 gig Synology. Bring that guy out flush. And I want to give it some room. They have big fans on the back of them. If you've never seen one of the big 8 bays that are pull fans. So it's kind of like hot aisle, cold aisle. They pull air over the drives through the chassis. Really good design. And I'm just going to put 2 more screws into the shelf, even though you don't really need to. I want that extra security for those big babies. There we go. And then second shelf. This will be for the other Synology. Which I've been in contact with them, and apparently they're very anxious to see the setup and the 10 gig configuration. So I got a bunch of videos we're gonna make on that after we get past this project and I get my actual half of my studio back. I probably shouldn't have done it that tight, but oh well. We'll fix that. Go. And the other one's over there. I'll have to power it down later. What else can we put in? Conduits. So I need to like space this out. So we're gonna have top of rack 10 gig on the top, Panduit. No. Patch panel on the top. Yeah, I think that's how we're gonna do it. So patch panel on the top, Panduit, or sorry, patch panel on the top, switch, core switch. So one of the SGs, Panduit, other SG switch, right? Panduit, 10 gig switch. And that way I can use super short runs for the 10 gig down to, since I'm doing copper, I can do the short runs down to the lower Synology. So what do we say? Patch panel, SG, Panduit, SG, Panduit. So Panduit right there. All right. Get some screws. Whatevs, yo. Is there a particular side that opens, or do they both open? No. The other cool thing I was thinking about was these are unmarked, unlogoed. I can get some stickers with Datacenter Dude, put it on the front of the Panduits. It's good stuff, right? We can brand the Datacenter Dude's data center. Alright. Two of those. So patch panel SG Panduit. Third one down. 3 down. More in there. Nope, shouldn't have tightened them. I knew better than that. Come on, Nick. How many years you been doing this? Come on, dude. Now we can line them up, center everything. Punch. 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 Ta-da! Go in there. Come on, girl. There we go. All right, and the next one. And the other one. And another one. And another one. Oh, come on, stop it. Where are you going? Started. And center. And punch. Punch. Come on. Punch. And punch. Good. Ta-da! And the crowd goes wild. Sort of, not really, at all. Oh, alright. Let me clean up a little bit here. My drywall pieces. I'm just going to stick them down here in the corner. So Mr. Painter Man can get them. I'm going to have to vacuum later. Drywall saw. What do you guys think? How's it look on screen? Oh, wow. Finally standing back from it. That looks awesome. That looks really good. Really, really good. And I still got 27, 28 inches of, I can put that shelf back in on the inside. Because it recesses all the way in there. Yeah, I mean, if I lived in California still, I'd be concerned over earthquakes and things like that. Because it is got a little wobble to it. I was thinking about attaching some struts to the bottom of it here for support. And like the weight resting on it with some feet on the carpet. Thought that would help, but man, I'm pulling on it, giving it a good tug, and it ain't coming out of the wall. I might come back around after I'm done doing all the work and just give it one more quarter turn with the ratchet, just to snug it up. Y'all are quiet today. Whew. Yeah, that looks awesome. If I do say so myself. So eventually we'll have the other Synology sitting here and all the networking up here. And I think I'm going to bring in I know I'm going to bring in, once I get the power sorted, I'm going to bring the AT&T modem in here. I may need another shelf on top of the Synology. What do we have in there? 1, 2, 3, 4 U. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got another, I can put another shelf in there and put some loose stuff up there, or wall mount them behind the rack, like the AT&T modem, things like that. I just got to make sure, oh, itchy back. I got to make sure that there's enough slack on the ONT line coming in from the outside. The other thing that I've been looking into, based on a conversation we had in the Discord. By the way, if you guys aren't in there, make sure you do exclamation Discord. You can get into the community with over 200 people in there now. Like core technologists. It's not random people. It's like all people from the tech industry in there. The other thing I was thinking about doing is working with AT&T to see if I can terminate directly to my my switch. So that I can do my own L3, I can do my own routing, I can do my own DHCP, everything like that. I just don't think they're going to do that for security reasons. They're not going to issue me the certificate for, to be able to my device, unfortunately. So it's one of those things where it's just like grin and bear it. It is what it is. Have to live with it. But at the end of the day, it's not that big a deal. Multitasking, Steven? I hear you, man. I hear you. So, let me go look at what that utility closet looks like now. 1 second. So good. All those loose cables are gone. The funny thing about it is, like, we only use about half of those cables. But I mean, I'm gonna patch them all down. I don't know if there's more than 24 there. There's quite a few. I'll hang it up there where you guys can see all of it. It's a mess. I've got to. I got a lot of punch down work to do. I also got to make sure I got enough slack to come all the way over here to the right side on some of this. So some of the longer ones they barely stretch over there, but not all of them do. So I'll have to be real diligent about which ones go where. Otherwise, I'm doing a little bit of that. Good old brute force. Tugging it off the... I don't want to do that, though, until I can move the BGW in here. So. Oh, man. All right. Let me come sit down for a few minutes. Whew. Okay. It's a good 2 hours work, right? What do you guys think? Good stuff? Is there anybody out there? It's going to be fun once I get the electricity sorted and get all that moved. I'm just not sure what I'm dealing with. If it's just a single line to a single circuit breaker down in the box in the garage, I'm probably going to want to run. I need to go see if I can figure out which circuit breaker that line's tied to. Because I would hate for, let me see, think about this. Yeah, I want that outlet to be on its own 15 amp breaker. It basically has its own 15 amp breaker with the trip light, if you think about it that way. But beyond, you have to think about it in layers, right? So most of what data center admins and engineers have to deal with is what's in their cage, what's in their racks. But you never really have to deal with what happens when a main trips behind your PDUs, or in front of your PDUs, I should say. That's usually you're just opening a ticket with, or like redundancies are kicking in and things like that in the data centers. So your power strips that are on each side of your racks, on the back of your racks in your data centers, those are plugged into giant sockets, gang boxes underneath the floor, right? Those gang boxes go all the way back to the giant PDUs, the transformers, that distribute power to multiple cages, multiple racks. And those have individual 15 amp 30 amp breakers in multiple circuits that are all fed off of a main trunk line that comes off the grid and is redundantly wired to a box to your diesel generators. So all of that is like the stuff that you never see if you're just running a data center. All you see is you get your suction cups and you pull the raised floor up, and there's your gang box with your outlets that your PDUs are plugged into. And that's kind of all you normally ever really see. But once you start digging into the actual the facility electricity grid, it gets a lot more complex. A lot of breakers, a lot of runs, a lot of gang boxes, lots of big power, lots of DC power coming out of the generators going to the transformers, and then the transformers deliver it to the big boy PDUs, multi-circuit PDUs that deliver it to each of your racks. Whoo! I haven't talked about that stuff in at least 10 years. God. It was such a specialized field to be in at that time, too. Like, there was not a lot of people doing that kind of stuff in Charlotte, North Carolina. Normally, you would think electricians would do that, but to have somebody that understood the mechanical engineering of backup diesels, which are basically power generators. People think of engines most of the time as what drives your car. Well, actually, no, it's just a generator. All your engine in your car is a generator to turn a drivetrain, a propulsion system. That's all it is. Same exact thing for data centers, for ships, for locomotives, trains. They're just power generators that are attached to different types of drivetrains. So you're going to have, on a ship, you're going to have a turbine system instead of you'll still have a transmission on a ship. It's just a little different. It's basically forward, neutral, reverse. Imagine if your car just had forward, neutral, reverse instead of gears, multiple gears. And in a data center, you're basically hooked up to a giant electric motor that when you spin it, the windings generate power. And that power gets delivered to a basically a giant capacitor is what a big bank of PDU is. So in the event that you lose power to the building, let's say the grid goes down, the electrical grid goes down, or you lose a line. Some idiot driving a backhoe digs up the main line. Happens all the time. The generator, the cat diesels will kick on, and they are able to, you have enough of those that are able to generate enough power that As long as you're putting gas or diesel fuel into them, they'll just keep running. They'll run it. The longest I ever had to run one was 13, 14 days, right at 2 weeks. It was during Floyd. Was it Hurricane Floyd in Charleston? 99, I think. Anyway, we had a facility that was down for almost 2 weeks, flooding, all kinds of bad stuff. But we got it drained, cleaned up, but we didn't have power. The local substation was down, so we had to power it with diesels for 2 weeks. And every 6 hours, somebody was on the pager, and they'd have to fill up the tanks. We would have a tanker truck come through and we dropped a temporary reservoir tank that held 250 gallons or something like that. It was basically a semi-trailer, little mini half semi-trailer, and we would basically have to hand crank fuel out of the trailer, pumping fuel into the engine reservoir. Like the engine reservoir would hold 60 gallons, I think. So every 3 or 4 days, we'd get a new trailer. Because we had, I think we had 2 of those diesels going. And that was more than enough. And with 50% headroom if it needed to crank up, right? And we had the data center back online in about 8 hours. After a hurricane and after it was flooded. That was a pretty monumental feat. That was all really before I knew I wanted to do this for a living. That's the fun part of that story. I look back at that going, what effect did that have on me? You guys saw me just for the last couple hours working with my hands, hanging a rack and doing. That's the most fun. You can do all your next finish wizards and write all the code you want. There's nothing more fun than doing what I just did for the last 2 hours. One of my favorite things that we used to be able to do that you can never do again is schedule 8 hours of downtime so I could reorganize the racks. Basically take everything out of the racks because we would be replacing servers, getting new NetApp storage arrays, a new Hitachi array, something. We'd be replacing some kind of gear, and everything is scaling down the further down you go, so we would have to take everything out and reline everything up, cable bundle everything, and it was the most fun ever. We would pull all-nighters. We would take everything down at 10 o'clock on a Friday night and have it all back up by 6 or 7 a.m. Saturday morning, and then just go crash. It was awesome. It's so much fun. I just absolutely love doing that kind of stuff. And it's really how I live the data center dude life, man, because it really does define me. I think a lot of people think I'm defined by NetApp. I think a lot of people know me as NetApp. And not a lot of people knew who I was before I ever joined NetApp. Handful of you did. And I mean, coming from the career trajectory that I did was very, very odd in the sense that I'd seen every step from the generators outside through the walls into the raised floors, into the racks, into the servers, into the storage arrays, into the networking. Not many people have been fortunate enough to go into every single aspect of diesel to IO, right? And everything in between. And the funny thing is that was my catchphrase when I first started DatacenterDude.com, is from the app to the power plug and everything in between. I've lived that life. And if I'm being honest, I like the physical stuff more than I like the virtual stuff. Sue me. I know everybody wants to live in the cloud and do everything virtually in software, and that's just the world we live in now. But man, I miss physical racking and stacking and cabling and all of that stuff. I really do. Genuinely. That was the most fun I've had in a really long time. Tearing my own house apart, hanging up a rack, mounting some gear in it. God, I'm just so mad I didn't sort the power out beforehand, because we could have powered all that stuff up and I could have moved the rest of the shit over. But I'll do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and bypass a lot of the gear that's sitting over there. I'm I need the Synology for work, the current one that's still sitting over there. But once I get power in that room, actually, no, it's 3 o'clock. I gotta get off here. There is a outlet right outside the door. Can you guys see that? Yeah, down there on the bottom left. I mean, I could swing a, you know, that trip light cable is long enough. You know what? Let's at least light that up. Let me do that with you guys, and then we'll get off here. Hang tight. I want to see that stuff light up and start charging. All right. Nope, don't you fall. Stay. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. I hope you guys can hear me down here. I did turn the mic up a little bit more. That off, that off. So, we need the trip light is gonna plug, well, I don't need to undo that one. The trip light is gonna plug directly into the back of the cyber power, the UPS. Alright, and it's going to plug in the battery plus surge, which is the start on that side. Alright, let me come out of here. Let's just make sure all this lights up. Alright, I got a light. Oh. $120 volt. So you can see 120 volt output, 0 amps on the load. This is basically, so you go to front readout on the trip light power strip of your current amperage. You can see voltage, and I think this guy's gonna charge. Yeah, all right. I'll have to double check and read the instructions later. But which way does that go in? There we go. So yeah, at least we powered something up, right? There we go. All right. I think we're done, guys, for today. Friday, we will be back once I figure out. I think I can use that power outlet because nothing else is on that circuit. I can use that for now. It's live, right? Did it? Yeah. So good. It's working. It's all working. I can start pulling load off the trip light, power the Synologies and switches. That was fun. Hope you guys enjoyed that. How's it look? I want to see it some more. Actually, let me try something. So there we go. We got juice. Now I just got to plug a bunch of stuff into it. All right. I got actual work to do. This was fun, guys. Friday, 1 p.m. Be there, be square. I'm going to have everything. I'm going to have the AT&T router moved over. Also plugged into the trip light. We're going to have, I'm going to get another one of those trip light strips. Or I can just harvest the one that I'm using over here that really, I've got one on each side of this desk because there's so much power coming off this desk. But I can harvest one of these off this other side and just find another way to plug stuff in with just a regular power strip. Put that one over in the rack because I think I'm going to need more than one. 2 Synologies, 3 switches. What else? Maybe not. That's got 12 outlets on that trip light. 2 Synologies, 3 switches, the AT&T modem, the Eero. So 5, 6, 7, 8 for the 4G hotspot, LTE hotspot. What else is going in there? I think it might be all right. I think it might be good. Anyway, it's here if I need it. Thank you so much for hanging. You guys were quiet today. I hope you guys enjoyed that. We'll be back on Friday at 1 p.m. We're going to have all this stuff. We'll power everything up. We'll bring the data center online as much as possible. I've got to, once I get the power, I guess power's sorted out, but now that I can move the AT&T one over once I get off stream, reset the internet, pull the last couple of cables through there, shut that utility box up, and we're good to go. I basically eliminated a Netgear switch today too, which is fantastic. One less hop in the network. Well, I guess I'll eliminate it once I get rid of the patch panel. But once I get the SG switches over there, I won't need it anyway, right? So eliminating a hop is always a good thing. For not that I have latency issues, but less hops is better. What else? That's it. Have fun, guys. Have a great day. Love you guys. Thanks for hanging out. And the big thing to remember is next week. Next week we'll probably not be doing regular streams because I've got three freaking watch parties for you guys next week. Let me go over those real quick before we get off here. But if you're in the Discord, there's channels in there where you can chat about each of the shows, and I've got links to the YouTube videos. You can set reminders for the streams, and some little teaser tweets and things like that are going to be coming over the next couple of days. So got one out there for Sapphire. Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, SAP Sapphire Now. We're going to be doing that one. And then after, I think it's like a 45-minute or a 1-hour keynote. We're going to be watching that. And then immediately afterwards, we're going to be bringing in Kirk Ryan, who is also from NetApp, but he's based in the UK. Kirk has been, from the inception of Azure NetApp Files, he has been the guy beating the streets with Geert, who is just recently joined NetApp as well. He and Geert have they've been the champions of Azure NetApp Files in EMEA. So one of the big things that happened recently is we got our SAP HANA certification using Azure NetApp Files for high performance for SAP running natively in Azure. Kirk's going to join me on stream in a live chat immediately after the keynote. Something new we're trying called the after party. So we're going to have the watch party and then the after party. So something I'm trying out. Tuesday is Cisco Live, the rescheduled Cisco Live from earlier this month, where they were going to do it, and just because of the riots and the protests that were going on, Chuck Robbins jumped up and said, we're going to postpone this a couple of weeks. So Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Okay? Tuesday the 16th. So Monday the 15th, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern for SAP Sapphire Now. Tuesday the 16th, Cisco Live keynotes, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Thursday, then we're going to skip a day. We're going to skip Wednesday. I may stream Wednesday. We'll see. And just do a Data Center Dude stream. Thursday, is day 2 of VeeamON. Now, I intentionally did this after talking with Rick Vanover because he said the first day is mostly... The second day, however, is an hour and a half of keynote with a lot of tech demos. So we're going to be doing the day 2 so that we can see all of the tech demos. And then immediately afterwards for the after party, Rick has agreed to join me for the after party. Live on stream. We'll have Rick Vanover, Senior Director of Product Strategy, I think is his title. Rick's an OG, Rickatron. Rick and I go way, way, way back to... He was one of the first people I met in the tech community back in the late 2000s. Mid to late 2000s. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Love him. Hi, Rick. Not to shun Michael Cade, not to shun Adam Berg, Anthony, Melissa. All of you guys are always welcome. But when I approached Rick and he was all for it, I figured that was... Look, Rick and I got some bants and we can go back and talk about this stuff. Plus, he's going to have a lot of the sort of knowledge of everything like that. I also didn't want to interrupt or have to deal with the scheduling issues potentially. I figured a lot of the technical folks were going to be doing demos on day 2 and presentations and things like that. So we'll see. But Rick Vanover joining me for the after party on Thursday, the 18th, for day 2 of VeeamON. So 3 watch parties next week, and then I'm taking a week off. I'm out. We're off. Is it that following? I think it might be 2 weeks after that. Let me look. Is that June? Yeah, the week of the 29th, leading up to July 4th, I'm off. We're on vacation. So next week we have 3 watch parties, and then there's another week. So we'll have DatacenterDude's Data Center done by the time I go on vacation on the end of the day on the 26th. Yes. You guys have no idea. It's such a long-term desire and project that I've been wanting to do. Let's get out of here, guys. Everybody have a great rest of your week. We'll see you guys on Friday. I'll work on the rest of this stuff off stream, and we'll have a lot of fun on Friday. We may go a little long on Friday if we get everything, and we're going to do some serious cable management once everything is secured and in its place where it needs to be. But I don't want to do any of that until everything's like done. Have a great one, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out today. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I certainly did. We'll see you for more on Friday. Peace.